Everything looks normal. The room hasn't changed. The light feels familiar. The sounds are exactly what you expect. And yet, something feels wrong. Not dramatic. Not enough to stop what you're doing. Just enough to notice. It's as if reality is still there, but it's no longer convincing. And the strange part is this: you don't notice it with your thoughts. Your brain notices it before you do. Act 1. The feeling without a cause. Many people experience this moment at least once in their lives. They struggle to describe it, but the pattern is the same. Everything works. Nothing is visibly broken. And yet, the world feels slightly distant. Some describe it as watching life from half a step back. Others say it feels like being out of sync with reality. What makes it unsettling is the absence of a clear reason. There is no event to point to, no obvious trigger that explains the sensation. So the mind does what it always does when it doesn't understand. It searches for meaning. You start wondering if you're tired, if you're stressed, if you didn't sleep enough. And while life goes on, one thought quietly settles in. Reality hasn't changed, but your experience of it has. Act 2. When the brain predicts the world. Here's something most people don't realize. Your brain does not experience reality directly. It predicts it. This process is known as predictive processing. Instead of passively receiving the world, the brain constantly builds expectations and checks whether reality matches them. Most of the time, it does. That's why the world feels stable. That's why familiar places feel familiar. But when prediction and perception stop aligning, even slightly, the brain detects something unusual. And here's the key point. That signal arrives before language. You don't think something is wrong. You feel it. Act 3. The first crack. For many people, the first sign doesn't appear during intense moments. It appears during ordinary ones. Walking into a familiar store. Unlocking the door to your own home. Sitting in a room you've been in hundreds of times. For a brief second, the brain hesitates. Not because the place has changed, but because familiarity doesn't arrive immediately. It's a tiny delay, small enough to ignore. But once you notice it, you don't forget it. This is often the first crack. If this sensation has ever happened to you, even once, write a single word in the comments. Off. Not to explain, not to tell your story, just to see how many people recognize this moment. Sometimes realizing you are not the only one already changes how it feels. Act 4. Prediction error. In neuroscience, there is a term for this moment: prediction error. It's the signal the brain generates when what it expected to perceive doesn't match what it actually perceives. Not a logical mistake, a predictive one. Small prediction errors don't trigger panic. They don't set off alarms. They create subtle sensations. Distance, hesitation, the feeling that something is off. And because the error is small, the brain reacts quietly. Act 5. The hidden shift. Here's something counterintuitive. These moments often don't come from chaos. They come from too much control. When the mind is forced to hold together too many thoughts, expectations, and tensions at once, reality can start to feel like something to manage instead of something to experience. In that shift, perception loses intimacy. The world doesn't feel fake. It feels distant, as if consciousness took one step back. Act 6. Why this matters. What you've seen here is only the beginning. The same mechanism that makes reality feel off can affect much more than perception. It can change how you experience time, how do you remember the past, how you experience yourself. Reality doesn't break all at once. It cracks in small, almost invisible ways. In the next episode, you'll see what happens when this system loses control of something fundamental, the speed of time, and why it often happens precisely when you're trying to stay fully present. If you want to continue this series, subscribe and turn on notifications. And if this video gave words to something you had already felt, leave a like. Not just as support, but as a signal that these stories deserve space.